Hi, I'm Derek Threinen. I'm pleased to be with you today as part of this panel looking at the evolution of 3D. I'm here representing D3D Cinema and our sister company, Giant Screen Films, both of them focused on the small but fairly vibrant museum cinema industry. When I refer to this museum industry, it includes science centers, zoos, aquariums, and other cultural and destination attractions. Our two companies are very intertwined, with many of us on the senior team working day to day across both companies. Almost 25 years ago, Giant Screen Films was established to produce and distribute specialty films for the large format film industry, which at the time was mostly centered in large cultural institutions and destination attractions. IMAX Corporation dominated the small industry at that time, supplying the vast majority of the sophisticated multi-channel sound systems and projectors needed for the large format 70mm film used to fill the giant flat and dome screens, which provided the then state-of-the-art immersive experience. IMAX 3D premiered in 1986, though 10 years later, those screens still represented a minority of the collective industry, and most of them still programmed quite a bit of 2D content out of necessity. Giant Screen Films launched into the industry with a daring film called Michael Jordan to the Max, very unlike the natural history, anthropology, space, and destination-centric documentaries that dominated the industry. It was shot and distributed in a 2D version only. Our team learned quickly that the institutions that operated these theaters, while forward-thinking and audacious enough to build these palaces of cinema, were actually quite conservative when it came to programming, preferring more traditional mission-related films. We evolved and we quickly established ourselves as one of the premier producers and distributors in the industry, bringing fascinating subjects to audiences as larger-than-life experiences and adventures, instilling a passion for exploration, promoting curiosity about the world around us, and encouraging viewers to continue learning and pursue adventures of their own. Here's a quick look at some clips from a few of our films being presented here online in 2D. No 3D glasses required. And I do apologize, the Zoom interface does degrade the video and audio quality significantly. One of the other core evolutions of our filmmaking was the understanding of the importance 3D would play in the evolution of the industry. The technical challenges of an all-film 3D production pipeline in the days before digital, not to mention the budgets, were considerable, and this inhibited the adoption of 3D filmmaking more universally. However, innovative filmmakers in the giant screen industry began pushing through the problems to find solutions. Early 2K digital motion picture camera rigs appeared in the early 2000s, though the resolution wasn't nearly sufficient to stand up to the image quality audiences had come to expect on the giant screen. Early 3D rigs helped a bit by effectively doubling the on-screen resolution, though it was evident that the quality of film wasn't going to be surpassed until the second or third generation of cameras appeared. Solutions to create 3D images from 2D footage came online a few years later. As filmmakers, it was apparent that the digital revolution was coming, and with it, the promise of a significant reductions in production cost along with increased flexibility. It was around the turn of the new millennium when the craze of building museum theaters began to slow down considerably. Being based around the 1570 film format, the projection systems cost in the millions of dollars, and the purpose-built theaters to house them cost millions more. The first world institutions and destinations with an interest in giant screen theater and who possessed sufficient attendance to support those economics were becoming saturated. The lack of scalability of the giant screen model meant that the size of the museum cinema industry was finite. Some commercial giant screens were being built in anticipation of showcasing big Hollywood releases, but because of the delays incurred when upconverting the films to playback in sufficient resolution and the associated costs, the volume of films was insufficient to justify building more of them. With a few museum theater veterans on the GSF team, there was a realization that the reduced costs and increased flexibility that the digital revolution promised on the filmmaking and distribution side could also provide significant benefits to the exhibition or client side of the equation. And importantly, with digital technology came true scalability. Where one company had held patents on the unique projectors so important to the giant screen industry, in the digital age, several different technology providers were building high-quality systems. Competition promised better pricing, along with greater innovation and increased options for theater operators. Coupling this with digital projection scalability, our team realized there was a significant business opportunity, and D3D Cinema was born. At the core, our initial mission in 2009 was not only to help our existing clients improve the health of their theater businesses by embracing the better economics of digital, but also to expand the museum theater industry into small and medium-sized markets which couldn't have supported a traditional giant screen theater. We aimed to remake the museum cinema paradigm, keeping and enhancing the attributes that were inherent to the special experience that immersive cinema offered, while providing previously unavailable choices to our clients, using state-of-the-art components from the world's premier manufacturers, offering user-friendly, labor-saving system interfaces with simple, flexible, and open architecture, which promised to eliminate the previous era's closed system distribution source limitations, and offering quick and effective service through a worldwide support network. We're mindful of future-proof design, preparing where possible for modular, scalable upgrades as new cinema technologies and production trends come to market. It's an important part of our story that we are not traditional innovators. We're not inventing or building new technologies as much as we're continually seeking to harness the newest and best products to bring solutions to our niche market, which enhance our clients' desire to showcase meaningful and compelling educational explorations that we offer in our films. Our company proudly boasts a myriad of industry firsts, evidence of our continued efforts to provide our clients and their audiences with access to the newest and best technology. In January 2011, we hosted the first annual Digital Cinema Symposium, and we showcased 4K projection technology on a giant screen for the first time. The following year, we showcased the first 4K 3D demonstration along with 11.1 3D audio, high frame rate 3D, as well as a prototype laser on a giant screen, all industry firsts. These events were milestones, marking the first time that industry professionals overwhelmingly acknowledged a digital presentation exceeded the quality of large format film in a side-by-side comparison. In 2014, we installed the world's first permanent laser-illuminated giant screen theater at Moody Gardens in Texas. In 2016, we were the first to demonstrate a laser 6K giant dome projection system, followed by the first permanent installations at the Great Lakes Science Center in Ohio and Chicago's Museum of Science and Industry. Last year, we installed the first second-generation enhanced dynamic range 6K laser cinedome system at the Explorium Science Center in Alabama. Over this past decade, we've become an industry leader, upgrading dozens of giant screen venues and installing many more expanded market immersive systems, while our closest competition has watched their institutional market share reduced by more than half. We've now installed over 100 immersive systems for the museum cinema industry, most of them 3D. Inherent to everything we've done was also to remake the business model for our clients. In the digital age, we all know that people are consuming media in very different ways. Attendance to museum theaters has been negatively affected over the last 2 decades by the proliferation of documentary content available, first via a 500-channel cable universe, and now streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and even YouTube. As well, competition for people's free time has increased from the rise of everything from online gaming to social media, and at the same time, the average attention span has decreased. To address these issues, we've developed a variety of strategies over the years. First, by leveraging the significant capital and operational savings inherent with digital exhibition in existing museum theaters, and secondly, by taking advantage of the scalability of digital systems to expand museum cinema into new markets. We've also helped our clients to rethink their theater business, to expand from simply showing documentary films to reimagining their cinemas as fully accessible multi-use spaces outfitted with comprehensive alternative content systems that can handle virtually any type of digital media. With an appropriate content license, they can play any 3D Hollywood feature, live stream cultural events, TV broadcasts, webcasts. They can conduct live conversations with astronauts aboard the International Space Station or scientists from remote locations. They can host gaming competitions, town hall meetings, product launches, or even album drops from local musicians. This ancillary programming helps institutional exhibitors maximize the productivity of their cinema venues outside of traditional museum hours while preserving their core mission-centric programming during museum hours. In these days of COVID-19, we've even created a product called StreamKit to allow museums to stream presentations, science demonstrations, and lectures from their theaters or galleries to a larger online community, allowing them to engage with their visitors, educators, and families in new ways during this unprecedented time. Importantly, we're pushing to improve the productivity of our client venues, understanding that in many cases, the actual runtime of the traditional museum documentary at approximately 40 to 45 minutes is a barrier to sales, particularly with groups, but also with families with young children. We're now producing at least 2 versions of every film, both in the traditional 40 to 45 minute length, but also shorter versions which run between 20 and 25 minutes in length, allowing exhibitors to turn their theaters almost twice as often while attracting new viewers through immersive films requiring less of an investment in time. We've also worked hard to capitalize on the relevance of our films in out-of-home venues, which is key in an age when audiences have immediate access to innumerable documentaries. The museum experience, with exhibits and original artifacts, it conveys an authenticity that cannot be otherwise achieved. We've partnered with some of the leading touring exhibition companies to create official companion films to complement major exhibits. From the Treasures of King Tut to Antarctic Dinosaurs, these 3D films perform phenomenally well during these pairings, but in many cases they perform just as well as standalone films. And when a venue taking a traveling exhibit doesn't already have an immersive theater, we can easily outfit the exhibition space with a temporary one, giving the institution a taste of museum cinema, which in more than a few cases has resulted in the creation of a permanent theater at that museum. We believe we've been successful in pushing for this expansion to the museum cinema market, particularly when dealing with conservative, risk-averse institutions, because we've worked hard to minimize those risks. One of the key solutions to that issue is our Cinefolio program, which provides a turnkey, immersive 3D cinema solution, including hardware and film at no upfront cost. We calculate a fixed monthly fee, which is payable over a term of several years, based on an institutional's historical attendance, and a system scaled to fit the space they'd like to dedicate to an immersive theater. These can include something as large as an existing auditorium, as small as an underused classroom or office, or even an irregular space which is unsuitable for exhibits or other typical uses. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for prospective clients to get into the 3D theater business. We've also designed a program called Cinefolio VR, which provides a virtual giant screen environment via VR headsets, within which we can lay in any of our film content. While this works for small spaces when fitting out a traditional theater isn't feasible, it's also an excellent solution for museums with immersive theaters who are doing educational outreach visits to remote locations, where they can even bring along their giant screen immersive experience. Obviously, VR is already a powerful storytelling tool and a compelling experience. We've made a significant commitment to this technology for the museum industry through a partnership with Swiss-based Somniacs, who've developed an outstanding full-body flying experience called Birdly. Its blending of science-based aerial and nautical biomechanics, along with photorealistic VR environments to explore freely while experiencing an exhilarating three-dimensional ride, is a natural complement to the immersive cinema business. I'm going to show you a short video here to show you what Birdly looks like.
For millennia, humans have looked to the sky and dreamed of flying like a bird. That dream is now reality.
Oh, it was awesome. When I was trying to turn, I could actually feel it in my stomach. When I would go down, I would get butterflies. It was amazing.
It was really interesting. It was very unexpected. Once you got on and you're settled into the machine, the environment changed right away. So it was really an immersive experience. It felt very close to being there.
Birdly VR is a full-body immersive experience based on the biomechanics of bird flight, enabling riders to soar, bank, and dive through the air, using their arms and hands to manipulate a cutting-edge motion platform. Unlike other VR experiences, Birdly takes your entire body along for the ride.
Totally forgot I was on a machine and it actually felt like I was flying. It was really cool.
Riders and spectators alike will get to explore a continuously growing library of photorealistic cityscapes and scientifically accurate natural environments, including the dinosaur experience, Jurassic Flight, Coral Reef Adventure, and many more in production, all designed to make riders feel like part of the action.
The most realistic part of the experience was moving through the scene. I could feel it in my body as though I was actually flying.
As an emerging technology, VR is still in the early stages of adoption in the fairly conservative museum world. But having placed over a dozen Birdly experiences, as well as running a rental business, we're enthusiastic about the evolutionary potential of the format, particularly as it relates to our core documentary filmmaking business. We will remain focused on this while continuing to shape the evolving market through the embrace of innovative new technologies. With reference to this panel, I will say that we are not using 3D in our VR products at this time, mostly because of the lack of available resolution for 3D applications. The state of current 3D VR technology is passable for standard commercial applications, but we don't feel it's up to the high cinematic standard yet that we expect from these experiences. It will come though, and at that time we'll start adopting it into our products. 3D is still vitally important in the museum cinema business, even though that hasn't necessarily held true in the commercial film market. We can see over time that 3D exhibitions of our films still perform better than 2D. This is likely due, at least in part, to the higher quality images which are inherent to our industry, with an emphasis on realistic immersion in the story environments rather than a reliance on gimmick shots to elicit a quick response. As such, all content our companies are producing or have produced for the past 10 years has been and will continue to be produced for 3D exhibition. However, it is important to note that non-3D, naturally immersive experiences like giant dome theaters continue to perform very well with 2D content, particularly in the digital age with ultra-high resolution images and powerful laser projection technologies which create truly stunning imagery. As a boutique specialist integrator focused on the museum industry, we have generated outstanding momentum because we're honest, nimble, and we work to be at the forefront of new technologies and to continually bring new innovations to our industry. We've already passed through a wide technological evolution during the last 10 years, from film to digital 3D to laser projection to full-body VR. We believe strongly in the power of 3D, and we will continue to champion it for the out-of-home market. We'll also pursue other immersive technologies which allow us to enhance our storytelling through compelling, meaningful, and memorable experiences to challenge and inspire more people with our films. I want to say thanks to my co-panelists, to our moderator, and to all of you for your time and attention. Thank you.